This week on Quoted 2.0.
I didn't become a great speaker because I participated in Toastmasters or any of those things. I didn't do any of those things. My upbringing, shall we say, into the speaking world just came through talking and being able to listen to people.
So we're here with Krishna Powell, Principal Officer at HR for Your Small Business. Krishna, how you doing today?
I am doing great, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you being on. We'll jump right into it. First question, because I feel like, could you explain what it is that you do and what HR for Your Small Business does as well?
So my business has two parts. I do human resources consulting for small to medium-sized businesses that can't afford their own HR person. But the key component of my business is I'm finally referred to as the multi-gen leader. And so what that means is I show organizations how to get the different generations to work better together. Because for the first time in history, we have 5 generations in the workplace. So that's no easy feat when you're a Gen Zer and you're tasked with working with someone who's old enough not just to be your grandmother, but maybe even your great grandmother. You know? And so it's not easy. I mean, because you'll have a 19-year-old sitting there with someone on the same team who is 75 years old. You don't always hold hands and sing kumbaya. You know?
That's so accurate. Is there a proven technique for, I mean, I'm assuming there is, but is there a proven technique for yourself and the business that you use for being the first steps when coming in and quote unquote fixing everything?
There is no proven steps per se. But what I do say is the first step is always just to be able to listen without judgment. A lot of times we're listening from our past experiences. We're listening from this is what happened to me. And so if I went through this, you can go through this. We listen from, and that even includes like workplace hazing, more or less. Like there was no one here who helped me out. It was sink or swim. And now you have to sink or swim. And it's like, okay, if you remember that all them years ago and how awful that was, why would we still put someone through it today? It didn't make it right then, so it doesn't make it right now. you know and so I have to remind people of that just because my generation, other generations survived it, does not mean it was the best thing to do. And so we have to keep those things in mind and stop judging new professionals and young professionals such as yourself based off of what we have been through or what we have dealt with. It's like, well, I had a horrible boss, so now you just deal with a horrible boss. I'm gonna treat you horrible, or that come in, be seen and not heard. That's how they treated me when I came in the office. And it's like, no, no. We're not doing that today.
Do you find that that's the usual problem, that it's like there's a clear hierarchy that people want known that there is one, and that's usually what you have to come in and kind of break down to build back up?
hmm And the hierarchy isn't just necessarily about, age, but the fact that I've been there longer than you. And then sometimes it's the flip side where you can be a young professional in charge of managing someone who's older, and you instantly sometimes think that your way of doing things is outdated and antiquated and things of that nature. But there's still lessons to be learned that could make your business, your department run easier and faster if you just listen to what happened before. Because the key is learning from the past and being able to improve upon it versus shutting older generations out. So there is sometimes almost this reversal that happens even when older professionals change jobs and come into the workplace where there are more younger people working there. And so, again, it's about listening and going, you know what, let's just time out. Let's just take time to just hear one another. Why are you saying this? Why are you thinking this? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? But do it from a blank slate and not from a judgment of, here we go with the old way. And, because I have young professionals go, Krishna, why don't they just retire? And so, what I like to remind young professionals is that the advantage to having someone older in the workplace is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make the mistakes we made because we're actually there for you to talk to and go, okay, what happened when you did this? Or why haven't you tried this? Or, you can learn from all of those things. And again, it just saves you so much time and the headache. The saying is true: if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
Mm.
And so it's important that, again, across generations, we're learning from each other. And that takes time. That takes, you're looking at multicultural differences. You're looking at not just the age gap, but when you look at how we were raised, how we are have been raised, by our parents and things of that nature. Being able to deal with and being able to hear the no's that come through, because it can be tough for Gen Zers, those who are under the age of 21, to hear the no's, especially if they were raised hearing a lot of yeses.
Hmm. That makes complete sense. And now, do you find that, because you touched on it a little bit, but environment wise, is there anything that businesses can do to prevent having to bring in consultants like yourself? Because it seems like a lot of consulting work, and
Mhm.
just start from, it's almost if you look at it like a line, like a straight line, like to prevent getting knocked off that straight line, and just always, if it gets knocked off, to bring it back down. Is there anything they can do from the jump that just creates that kind of environment?
Well, one of the things that they can do is always encourage. So, one of the mistakes that leaders make is that they say we have an open door policy. I want to hear what you have to say. And then when you tell them, it doesn't go so well sometimes. And so I tell leaders, I understand your business is your baby, but not everybody's going to love your baby or tell you that your baby's perfect. And so, one of the things that leaders need to be able to do is to be able to receive that feedback. We always tell our employees, be able to receive constructive criticism. But leaders have just as much as a difficult time as
Yeah.
their employees hearing that feedback. And so I wish I could say, I actually got into this business from being in the workplace for quite a few years. I've been doing this human resources consulting thing now, heading into 3 decades. I can't believe it.
Wow.
Um, and so leaders get very busy. And so oftentimes you do, even their HR person needs a consultant such as myself, because sometimes you need someone who stands in the middle and go, I see your point of view, I see your point of view, and I see your point of view. All your points of view are valid. So, and I do that with senior leadership. And so I get to say to leaders what their employees cannot say to them.
And
And with my experience in corporate America, nonprofit organization, and as well as nonprofit organizations, um, I'm able to have that respect of the leaders to go, okay, yeah, Christian, you told me something I didn't want to hear. I'm going to have to think
Mhm.
about it. And sometimes they're stubborn. They'll go, no, that's not the truth. And then they have to come back 6 months later and go, oh my God, you
Right.
did warn us about this. I didn't listen. Like, it's not a problem. Now are you ready to implement? No, but some leaders you can't always, they're not always ready to receive the information. Again, as an employee, that can impact your paycheck. That
Mhm.
can impact your career at that organization if you tell the leader or a leader, one of the leaders, something that they didn't want to hear or that they didn't appreciate or value at that time.
Krishna, you brought up something that I think ties into why you're so good at your HR work, because you have spoke around the world, it seems like, and you've been to many countries and different states, speaking on all different various number of topics. You know, and I think that's such a common problem and a common fear among people in the business world, people just in general, and even entrepreneurs as well. And
Yep.
it's also something that, as an entrepreneur, when you just start, you spend 99% of your time just telling people, like, I do this, you need to go to me. So what's something that, both entrepreneurs and anyone in business can do to become more comfortable speaking to people, or speaking with people, or speaking in front of people?
Really, the best way to become comfortable with speaking to people is always speaking to people, as well as being able to hear from them. Listening is so key. I didn't become a great speaker because I participated in Toastmasters or any of those things. I didn't do any of those things. My upbringing, shall we say, into the speaking world just came through talking and being able to listen to people, really having understanding that communication really is two-way. And so being able to have ongoing conversations, be it sitting in your department, listening to your employees, be it going to meetings and networking events, just constantly getting yourself out there, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, in my opinion, is one of the best ways to become a pretty good speaker, to say the least.
That's a great way to put it. And then that's funny because that ties into something that one of my favorite motivational speakers, I don't know if you ever heard of Les Brown, but
My favorite.
who would dislike Les Brown? And the most memorable thing that I remember learning from him a while ago, like back in high school, was he said, to be successful at life, I believe in TTP, which stands for talk to people. And if that doesn't work for you, then I believe in TTMP, talk to more people. So do you think that talking to people from, early on in your career and learning from them and just speaking with more people on a daily basis, it was almost like it was destined to build you into a better businesswoman?
Yeah, I mean, and what also contributed, in my opinion, is having great leaders around me. Um, so the people that I talked to wasn't just those who were my immediate coworkers. It was being able to also hear the constructive feedback that was given to me by senior leaders when I was in the workplace. Because again, you're not going to always hear everything that you like, but gleaning information across the generations um, made me respect and appreciate and gave me an understanding for other points of view when I did go out there and speak on a much larger scale. So my leaders included an office manager by the name of Rosemary Senegar. Another person was one of the leader in my church, Bishop Henry Moses. Another leader was one of Les Brown's star pupils, Star Babatune. You have all of these great people who you have the privilege of coming across your path. You have to be able to listen to them. As he said, talk to more people. Me talking to Star, me talking to Bishop Henry Moses, me talking to Rosemary Senegar. They have all made such a difference in my life and helped me to fulfill the role that I'm in. There was another leader by the name of Margaret Engate, who I was able to listen to and glean information from. And they are the ones who encouraged me in regards to, I didn't know that I could be a public speaker. Like I said, I didn't go to school for it. And so it didn't cross my mind to do this whole public speaking thing. I was human resources. But they pointed out that I had a unique ability to hear other people's point of view and communicate that to others. And I was able to do it in a very plain Jane or common man type of way in layman's terms. So
I love that. So, Krishna, we got our last question coming up. I ask every guest that's on the show, what is a quote that kept you positive over the years, since business can be so stressful, or motivated you to be better over the years?
So the quote that has, and I don't know who has said it, but the quote that has motivated me to get better has always been stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And so I think that's so important because you never know when the call is going to come in that they're going to need your help, your assistance, your support. And I think for any business that you're in, you always have to stay ready, not just professionally, but personally. Um, Physically, whatever you can do to just keep yourself prepared. Because again, you never know when that opportunity is going to come knocking. And there's nothing like an opportunity meeting preparation, So where you're only seeing that door right there in front of you, you don't realize that by being prepared, there's three more doors there once you walk through that one. But if you're not prepared, if you haven't stayed ready, you're going to have some problems. And so I find that reading and studying and learning and growing is on an ongoing basis. That's one of the ways that I stay ready. physically, you do what you can with walking, exercising, whatever the case may be. But all those aspects that even they teach you about, like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't know if you heard of that program. Um, by Stephen Covey. They talk about, staying physically ready, emotionally ready, socially, and you think about your network, your friends, your family, those that have mattered most, because there it doesn't matter if you have success in your business if you don't have it personally as well. And so you need to have, again, you need to stay ready, keep your family ready, keep your friends ready, in regards to, as whenever you can, you keep that network. So I use like the pandemic time to reconnect with my family and friends and spend some time with them, because it reminded you just how short life can be and how fragile life can be. um, and then, like I said, all the other things that you can do to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because to me, that's one of the worst things in the world, is to have an opportunity come along and you not be ready for it.
Mhm.
So you need to be ready.
I love it. That was a phenomenal quote and a phenomenal quote breakdown. I got to get you on the show more often. That was it. Krishna, thank you for being here. That was Krishna Powell of HR for Your Small Biz. Phenomenal. That is honestly I think it's going to be very insightful for a lot of the younger generation, as well as, because it gives different age groups different perspectives almost. And I feel like it lets them walk a mile in somebody else's shoes who's either much younger than you or much older, or even a little bit older, a little bit younger. So I appreciate you coming on and spreading all your lovely insight and amazing insight.
Thank you for having me. It was truly my pleasure. And anytime you need me, I'm here for you.